Welcome, football fans, to a journey through the NFL draft history like never before. Today, we dive deep into the story of the 31 players drafted before the electrifying Lamar Jackson. From the highs to the lows, the steals to the busts, we unravel the mysteries behind each pick and uncover the untold tales of what could have been. Get ready to witness the ultimate draft day saga where dreams are made and shattered within a blink of an eye. With the 2024 NFL Draft soon approaching, it had me looking back and it had me thinking about all the teams that passed up on a chance to sign Lamar Jackson. Then it also had me thinking about the players in Lamar Jackson's draft class and how things have panned out. A draft class of 5 first-round quarterbacks where Lamar Jackson seemed to be an afterthought. Speculated that he should change positions because of his speed and not seeing the talented QB that he was. Lamar would go on to win 2 league MVPs and set numerous NFL records. If teams had to do it over again, I wonder what the order would be now. Even the Ravens passed on Lamar 3 times, having to trade back into the first rounds to acquire his talents. This is the story of the 31 players who came before the MVP. No, make that the 2-time MVP, Lamar Jackson.
Let's get it.
With the first overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns drafted Baker Mayfield, the surprise number 1 overall pick by the Browns out of Oklahoma, with many projecting Sam Darnold or a raw Josh Allen to go number 1. The Heisman-winning Baker Mayfield spent 4 turbulent seasons in Cleveland. He looked to be the right choice at QB, passing for a then-rookie record 27 touchdowns despite missing 3 games. 2 seasons later, he guided the Browns to an 11-5 record while passing for another 26 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions. He also took the team to the playoffs and led Cleveland to their first playoff victory in 26 years. Now, after falling out of favor with the organization in 2022, Baker was traded to the Carolina Panthers for a 5th-round pick. With Carolina, Baker played in 7 games, starting 6. He went 1-5 as a starter, only throwing for 6 touchdowns and having 6 interceptions. Ironically, 2 of those interceptions came in the last game as a Panther against the Ravens. After that, he asked for his release and Carolina granted it. The Rams then claimed Baker off of waivers and he started 4 games for an injured Matt Vea, and this may have saved his career. Mayfield then joined the Bucs for the 2023 season, competing with Kyle Trask for the starting job. Some believe that Trask had the inside track, but Baker beat him out. And Baker rewarded the team and their faith with a 4,000 career-high 28 passing touchdowns for the season. He also led Tampa Bay to a division title and a win over the Philadelphia Eagles in the wildcard round before losing to the Detroit Lions in the divisional playoff round. In the offseason, Baker signed a 3-year, $100 million contract. Mayfield has seemed to found a home in South Florida. Saquon Barkley, the 2nd overall pick by the New York Giants. Saquon was described as the safest pick in the 2018 draft and was drafted 2nd overall. Barkley would go on to spend the next 6 seasons with the New York Giants. The 2-time Pro Bowler went on to win Rookie of the Year over Baker Mayfield and became a Pro Bowler with 1,300 yards rushing. Despite displaying immense talent, Saquon would miss time over the next 3 seasons. He did have a 1,000-yard season in his sophomore campaign, but missed 17 games over the next 2 years. In 2022, Saquon had another 1,300-yard year, becoming a Pro Bowler for the 2nd time, and after the season, was rewarded by being franchise tagged by the Giants. Instead of paying him, the Giants signed Daniel Jones to a long-term contract, causing a disconnect between Saquon and the team. Barkley was the New York Giants offense with a lack of talent across the board. In 2023, with even less talent around him and the Giants playing merry-go-round with the quarterback position, Barkley rushed for 962 yards in 14 games, which was an amazing feat despite there not being anything else around him. And after the season, Saquon signed a 3-year deal with the division rival Philadelphia Eagles. Sam Darnold, 3rd pick by the New York Jets. Some considered Darnold the consensus number 1 pick for most of the offseason, but Darnold came in as the 3rd pick by the New York Jets. Not living up to expectation, Sam spent 3 seasons with the Jets, going 13-25 as a starter. In his 2nd year, he did throw for a career-high 3,024 yards and 19 touchdowns. But the most memorable thing about this time in New York was him famously stating that he was out there seeing ghosts while throwing for 4 interceptions and only 86 yards in a Monday night shutout versus the Patriots. In 2021, the Jets traded Sam to the Carolina Panthers for a 2nd, 4th, and 6th-round pick. Darnold went on to start 11 games, going 4-7, and never really making an impact. In 2022, Darnold would ironically lose his starting spot to draftmate Baker Mayfield, but Darnold would go on to start 6 games and go 4-2 for interim head coach Steve Wilks, having more wins than losses for just the second time in his career. In 2023, Sam signed with the San Francisco 49ers as an insurance policy just in case Brock Purdy was not ready to return from injury. Darnold would start the season finale losing to the Rams, but did look a lot better at QB. This offseason, Sam Darnold signed a 1-year deal to be the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, replacing Kirk Cousins. With the number 4 pick, the Cleveland Browns selected cornerback Denzel Ward. Have we not seen this before? Cleveland once before had 2 first-round picks and selected cornerback Justin Gilbert and quarterback Johnny Manziel. That did not go well for them, but this time the Browns at least hit on one of their prospects. Ward, being the first defensive player off the board, has been one of the better, more consistent cornerbacks in the league. Denzel will be one of the few going into 2024 to spend his entire career with that team that drafted him. Denzel became a Pro Bowler in his rookie year that he made his second Pro Bowl. Following the 2021 season, the Browns signed Ward to a 5-year, $100 million extension, and Ward did not disappoint, blanketing receivers and grabbing another 3 interceptions in the 2022 season, Ward being a top 5 corner in the league. Bradley Chubb, the 5th pick of the Denver Broncos, the first pass rusher off the board. Chubb made an immediate impact in the league, teaming with Von Miller to get 12 sacks as a rookie and coming in 3rd in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. In his second year, he tore his ACL in week 4, missing the rest of the season. He returned in 2020 to play 14 games and rack up 7.5 sacks. In 2021, Chubb missed the last 10 weeks of the season after sustaining an ankle injury while recording no sacks on the season. The next season, Bradley returned to the Pro Bowl while splitting time with 2 teams. He spent the first 8 weeks in Denver, getting 5.5 sacks, and then was traded to the Miami Dolphins for, and Chubb had 11 sacks and seemed to regain his form, but suffered another torn ACL in the 4th quarter of a blowout loss to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. We shall see what the future holds for Bradley as he returns from injury. Quenton Nelson, drafted number 6 by the Indianapolis Colts, the first offensive lineman off the board, and quite possibly the best, Nelson had an immediate impact on the Colts, helping Indy go from 4-12 to the playoffs. Quenton started his career with 4 straight All-Pro selections and has been a Pro Bowler every season he's been in the league. He is very durable, only missing 3 games throughout his career. In 2022, Quenton was signed to a 4-year, $80 million extension, making him the highest paid guard in the league. This shows you the value that the Colts place on him. Certainly, the Colts made the right decision, having Andrew Luck as their QB. Nelson was a home run pick. Trading up to number 7, the Buffalo Bills made Josh Allen the 7th overall pick of this draft. The Bills took a chance on a raw prospect out of Wyoming. Buffalo may be the only team that selected a quarterback in this draft that is satisfied with their selection outside of the Ravens. Allen, after a rocky start, has been one of the top 5 QBs in the league. He consistently is one of the touchdown leaders every season while guiding the Bills to the playoffs. The only knock on Allen is his turnovers. He leads the league in total turnovers and interceptions since he's entered the league. He is the ultimate boom or bust selection. The 2-time Pro Bowler has guided the Bills to the AFC Championship, and this past season brought the team back from the brink of missing the playoffs to winning the division. I think the Bills made the right choice when they chose him to be their franchise QB. The Chicago Bears made Roquan Smith the number 8 pick out of the University of Georgia. Now, Roquan's career started off rocky with the Chicago Bears. He held out for 29 days due to a contract dispute. I think that this turbulence led to the future endeavors that led to a split between Roquan and the Bears. Roquan, though, was a monster, having 100 tackles every year during his first 4 years, while being selected to 2 second-team All-Pro teams. Then, during the 2022 season, the Bears traded Roquan Smith to the Baltimore Ravens, ironically, for a 2nd-round pick. Smith fit right in with the Ravens and has made 2 first-team All-Pros since joining the team, while also making his first 2 Pro Bowls. After playing for the Ravens for part of a season, he signed a $100 million extension, ensuring that he plays alongside Lamar Jackson for years to come. The San Francisco 49ers made Mike McGlinchey the 9th overall pick in this draft. McGlinchey was the first offensive tackle off the board. He started every game as a rookie, replacing Trent Brown, who went on to the Patriots. In 2019, he helped the 49ers reach the Super Bowl, but in week 9 of 2021, he suffered a torn quad and was placed on injured reserve. After the 2022 season, McGlinchey signed a 5-year deal with the Denver Broncos and is still with the team. With the 10th pick, the Arizona Cardinals drafted what they thought was the quarterback of the future for them, Josh Rosen. Rosen was considered by many to be the most pro-ready prospect in this draft. Being the fourth selected, he famously stated, "There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me." In his only season with the Cardinals, he went 3-10, throwing 11 touchdowns and 14 picks. Josh only lasted 1 year in Arizona, with the Cardinals drafting Kyler Murray the following season. In 2019, Rosen was traded to the Miami Dolphins for a 2nd and a 5th round pick. He went 0-3 as a starter and was released at the end of the season. His career ended with being on the practice squad with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the San Francisco 49ers in 2020, and the Cleveland Browns and Minnesota Vikings in 2022. With the 11th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins drafted Minkah Fiztpatrick. Minkah was the first safety taken in the draft. Even though he was immensely talented, he ran with the 2nd string in his rookie season. In 2019, the Dolphins tried him out at corner because of his speed, and Lamar Jackson torched him in the season opener. Then Fitzpatrick requested a trade because he felt that the team was playing him out of position. So then Minkah was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it is safe to say that the Dolphins could have used Lamar instead of drafting a safety for a season plus 2 games, because Ryan Tannehill did not turn out to be the quarterback of the future that the Dolphins needed. With pick 12, the Tampa Bay Bucks selected Vita Vea. The massive nose tackle drafted out of Washington was a former Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. Vea was added to the Bucks to help an already strong defense become stronger. In his rookie season, he was injured during the preseason and missed the team's first 3 games. Despite this, he still managed 28 tackles and 3 sacks from the nose tackle position. In 2020, Vita fractured his leg and ankle and was placed on injured reserve. He was, though, activated just in time to play in the Super Bowl with the victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. During the 2021 season, Vea made his first Pro Bowl and also signed a 4-year, $73 million deal. Payne was made the 13th overall selection by the Washington Commanders. Going into the season with Alex Smith, Josh Johnson, Colt McCoy, and Mark Sanchez, you would have thought that the Commanders would have needed a QB, but you are wrong. But I guess no one could foresee that Alex Smith would have a horrific knee injury that put his season and his life in jeopardy. So the Commanders went with defensive tackle Payne out of Alabama. Payne finished his rookie campaign with 5 sacks and made the PFWA All-Rookie team. During the 2022 season, Ron made his first and only Pro Bowl after collecting a career-high 11.5 sacks, 64 tackles, and 5 passes defense. In 2023, the Commanders extended Payne with a 4-year, $90 million extension. The New Orleans Saints made Marcus Davenport the 14th overall selection in this draft. The Saints traded their first-round selection in 2018 and in 2019 to move up to select Davenport. Even with Drew Brees losing arm strength and possibly on the downside of his career, the Saints decided to go with the defender that they coveted. Never quite living up to his potential, New Orleans picked up his 5th-year option anyway, and he rewarded the team with 15 games played and only a half a sack. Marcus had tremendous talent, but injuries may have robbed him of all the potential that he had. In 2023, Marcus signed with the Minnesota Vikings. Unfortunately, he was placed on injured reserve after week 6. Currently, Davenport has signed a 1-year deal to play with the Detroit Lions. The Oakland Raiders made Kolton Miller the 15th overall selection, and he seems to be a decent pick. Also, with Derek Carr coming off a Pro Bowl season, I'm guessing that Oakland did not need a quarterback at that time, so they thought. So why not, as a team, go all in and shore up the 2nd most important position on offense, which is your left tackle. So the Raiders went with Kolton in hopes of shoring up their offensive line, but Miller struggled little as a rookie. He did turn things around, and even with the team bringing in Trent Brown, Miller remained on the left side. In 2021, Miller signed a 3-year extension, keeping him with the team through the 2025 season. With their 2nd first-round pick, the Buffalo Bills made Tremaine Edmunds 16th overall player. Being that Buffalo just drafted Josh Allen, there was no need to go for a quarterback here, but Baltimore's hands aren't clean in this matter. Baltimore originally had the 16th pick and traded it for the 22nd pick and a 3rd rounder to the Bills. Bills went on to select Tremaine Edmunds, to man the middle of their defense. Tremaine will become a captain in just his 2nd season and also made the Pro Bowl in 2019 and 2020. Edmunds spent 5 years in Buffalo, averaging over 100 tackles per season, but in 2023, he signed a 4-year deal with the Chicago Bears. The Los Angeles Chargers made Derwin James the 17th overall selection. The ultra-talented James out of Florida State University was thought to have been a target for the Ravens at pick 16. The Chargers swooped in and got James once the Ravens traded out of that spot. With Phillip Rivers still having productive seasons, Chargers weren't necessarily looking into a QB. But when all was said and done, the Chargers knocked the James pick out of the park. In his rookie season, Derwin was an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler with 105 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 13 passes defended. In 2019, James dealt with a stress fracture and was placed on IR. James also missed the entire 2020 season with a torn meniscus. James came back in 2021 and returned to Pro Bowl form once again. In 2022, Derwin signed a 4-year, $76 million extension and returned to the Pro Bowl for a third time. He was also an All-Pro selection for the second time. The Green Bay Packers made Jaire Alexander the 18th pick in this draft. Jaire Alexander played with Lamar at Louisville. Packers traded from the 27th pick up to the 18th to acquire Alexander. Jaire would go on to become one of the top cornerbacks in the league. Made the Pro Bowl in 2020. That year in the playoffs, he became the first player since 2006 to allow negative yards in a game. In 2021, Green Bay exercised his 5th-year option, and in 2022, Jaire and the Pack agreed on a 4-year, $84 million extension while making his second Pro Bowl. In 2023, there may have been some turmoil between Alexander and the team, leaving his future in doubt. The Dallas Cowboys made Leighton Vander Esch 19th selection overall. Vander Esch seemed to be a hit from the start for the Dallas Cowboys. Vander Esch made the Pro Bowl and being an All-Pro in his rookie season, giving the Cowboys hope for the future. But injuries would come to define his career. In 2019, after Week 9, Leighton was placed on injured reserve with a neck injury. In 2020, played in 10 games because of a broken collarbone. In 2023, Vander Esch played in 5 games, but was placed on injured reserve once again. In March of 2024, Leighton Vander Esch announced his retirement from the game. The Detroit Lions made Frank Ragnow the 20th selection overall. Ragnow was the second interior lineman selected in this draft. While he was drafted as a center, he spent his rookie season playing left guard. He has since played every other season at center for the Lions. Ragnow made his first Pro Bowl and an All-Pro team in 2020. He also made the Pro Bowl in 2022. And in 2023, he made his second All-Pro and second Pro Bowl team. He also helped lead the Lions to their first division title since 1993, their first conference championship game since 1991. The Cincinnati Bengals made Billy Price the 21st selection overall. Billy Price was considered by some to be a can't-miss center coming out of Ohio State. He has had a less than stellar career. After starting the first 2 games for the Bengals, he missed the next 6 with a foot injury. 2021, the Bengals declined his 5th-year option, making him a free agent after the 2022 season. Since then, he has played for the Giants, Raiders, Cardinals, Saints, and Cowboys. He is currently an unrestricted free agent. In hindsight, with Andy Dalton on the downside of his career, Bengals could have taken a flyer on Lamar. I think they may possibly be happy with their choice of waiting on Joe Burrow. With pick 22, the Ravens traded out once again, dropping back 3 spots. Tennessee Titans drafted Rashaan Evans 22nd of the University of Alabama. He was thought to come in and help solidify. Titans then decided to decline his 5th-year option, making him a free agent after the 2021 season. He then signed a 1-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons. 2023, Evans signed with the Philadelphia Eagles practice squad, but was released 3 days later. Then signed with the Dallas Cowboys, but got into some legal trouble and was released. He is currently on the free agent market. The New England Patriots made Isaiah Wynn the 23rd selection overall. Isaiah Wynn was a below-average tackle, was drafted with the pick that New England acquired by trading Brandon Cooks to the Rams. His rookie year, in the second game of the preseason, he tore his Achilles and missed the entire season. But the next 4 seasons with the Patriots, and even with his uninspiring play, New England decided to pick up his 5th-year option, and then they moved him over to the right side of the line. 2023, Wynn signed a 1-year deal with the Dolphins, and in 2024, he decided to resign for 1 more year with Miami. DJ Moore was the 24th overall selection by the Carolina Panthers. The former Terp was mocked by some to be a wide receiver option for the Ravens, and instead was headed to the Carolina Panthers. After a decent rookie season, Moore topped 1,100 yards in his next 3 seasons. 2021, the Panthers exercised his 5th-year option. Then in 2022, amid QB turmoil for the Panthers, Moore still managed to put up a respectable 888 yards receiving, a then career-high 7 touchdowns. Then in 2023, DJ was used to help Carolina acquire the first overall pick, being traded to the Chicago Bears. During that season, being paired with Justin Fields, Moore put up career highs, 96 receptions, 1,564 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And with this upcoming draft, the Bears are waiting to see what kind of chemistry he has with Caleb Williams. Finally, the Baltimore Ravens have made their selection. The Ravens, trading back once again from 22 to 25, opted to make Hayden Hurst 25th selection of this draft. The Ravens needing a wide receiver, this was a puzzling move. The Ravens took the 25-year-old tight end out of South Carolina. Being a former professional baseball player, the Ravens thought that they were getting a plug-and-play player at tight end, messing up on Lamar once again. But what the Ravens got was a player lost his starting spot to a third-round pick, being Mark Andrews. Hurst finished his rookie season with 13 catches for 163 yards and 1 touchdown. 2020, Hurst was traded to the Atlanta Falcons for a second-round pick. He spent 2 seasons. He has since played for the Cincinnati Bengals and Carolina Panthers. In 2024, he is reunited with Greg Roman, signed him with the Los Angeles Chargers. Atlanta Falcons made Calvin Ridley the 26th selection. Ridley was widely considered to be the pick that the Baltimore Ravens coveted. He instead went to the Atlanta Falcons to pair with Julio Jones. Calvin's first 2 seasons, he averaged around 845 yards and 8 touchdowns. Then in 2020, Ridley exploded and became Atlanta's #1 receiver, making the All-Pro team after having 90 catches for 1,375 yards and 9 touchdowns. This gave the Atlanta Falcons confidence to move on from Julio Jones. This is where it all went wrong. 2021, after 5 games, Ridley stepped away from the game for personal reasons. Then in 2022, he was suspended for the season for gambling. During his suspension, Calvin was traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 2023 6th and a 2024 4th-round pick. He went on to lead the Jags in receiving, and after the season, signed a 5-year deal with the rival Tennessee Titans. Rashaad Penny was made the 27th selection at the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks traded back in the draft hoping to find a replacement for Chris Carson. Ended up with Penny, who had just ranked 5th in the Heisman voting in the previous college season. As a rookie, Rashaad played in 14 games, rushing for 419 yards. He never quite lived up to his first-round status, topping out at 749 yards in 2021. Seattle declined his 5th-year option, instead opting to resign him to a 1-year deal in 2022. In 2023, Penny signed with the Philadelphia Eagles, only seeing time in 3 games. He had a career-tying low 11 attempts for the season, and he is now currently a free agent. The Pittsburgh Steelers made Terrell Edmunds the 28th selection overall. The elder brother of Tremaine, Terrell was the 3rd safety drafted by the Steelers. Edmunds played 5 seasons and 79 games with Pittsburgh. He compiled 5 sacks and 5 interceptions with 410 tackles with the team. In 2021, the Steelers declined to pick up his 5th-year option and returned to the team in 2022 on a 1-year deal. In 2023, Terrell signed a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles, but in October, Edmunds was traded to the Tennessee Titans. Terrell and Tremaine are the first set of brothers to be drafted in the first round of the same draft in NFL history. The Jacksonville Jaguars made Taven Bryan 29th selection overall. Bryan, the surprising pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars, had a very average career with the team, and because of this, they declined to pick up his 5th-year option. In his 4 years with Jacksonville, he had 5.5 sacks and under 100 tackles. In 2022, Bryan signed a 1-year deal to become a backup with the Cleveland Browns. With the Browns, he had 26 tackles and 3 sacks. Then in 2023, Taven signed with the Indianapolis Colts and collected 2 sacks and 22 tackles. This past offseason, Bryan re-signed with the Colts on a 1-year deal. Mike Hughes was made the 30th overall selection by the Minnesota Vikings. Mike Hughes spent his first 3 years in Minnesota with a very average career, collecting 2 interceptions in the process. Things may have been different if it had not been for injuries. In 2021, Hughes was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, where he spent 1 season. In 2022, he signed a 1-year deal with the Detroit Lions. He then, in 2023, signed a 2-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons. With the final pick before Lamar Jackson got selected by the Baltimore Ravens, the New England Patriots made Sony Michel the 31st pick overall. Former Georgia Bulldog did not have a long storied career. What he did have is mild success and 2 Super Bowl victories. Sony's rookie season saw him rush for a career-best 931 yards. In the playoffs, he rushed for the 2nd most scores ever with 6, had the go-ahead touchdown versus the Rams to win the Super Bowl in his rookie year. Michel was marred by injuries over the next 2 seasons. Michel was traded, ironically, to the Rams, where he won his 2nd Super Bowl. And in 2022, he signed with the Miami Dolphins and was released. He also signed with the Los Angeles Chargers and was released a few months later. In 2023, he went back to the Los Angeles Rams, but decided to retire rather than go through the rigors of the NFL. So this is the list of the 31 players that have been drafted before Lamar Jackson. I'm sure that there are a lot of teams that are scratching their head thinking, what were we thinking? We gave into the pressure. We gave into the nonsense where it was speculated that Lamar should switch positions because he was not going to be an effective NFL quarterback. So who would you draft for your team if you could redo the 2018 draft all over again? Do you think that Lamar would have gone higher than he went? I know that many teams and even the Baltimore Ravens would not have chanced it and passed over Lamar like they did the first time. This just goes to show that when analysts have an agenda, they push it no matter what, and teams miss out listening to the rumors. You could end up with a Josh Rosen type that doesn't last in the league, or you could end up with a starter that transforms your franchise. Lamar Jackson is a two-time NFL League MVP. There may be even more hardware coming his way, with the Ravens revamping their team and adding pieces like Derrick Henry. Now, if you like this content, leave a comment and tell me if there is another player or another draft that you would want to see covered. Drop a like, share with your friends. Until next time, it's your boy.